Welcome to Owl Insights, where we explore the trends, challenges, and innovations shaping the world of risk. I'm Judith, marketing manager at Owlin, and today we're diving into a big question in the world of third-party risk management. Does a one-size-fits-all approach still work? With increased complexity, regulatory pressure, and evolving technologies, many organizations are rethinking how they manage third-party risk. So, how do you keep up, and what's next? To explore this, I'm joined by two people who are at the front lines of this evolution. Dave, from our partner, Trust Alliance Compliance Solutions, a true TPRM expert with experience selling and implementing multiple risk solutions. If there's a challenge in the space, he's seen it. And then Stefan Pekel, Chief Growth Officer at Owlin, who talks with prospects and clients daily about what they actually want from risk tools and where the pain points still are. Let's start light. What's one TPRM insight or moment that stood out to you this week?
For me was this week the change in how our minister is looking into the AML directive in our country, and especially with the financial institutions in which they have been asked, and it's going to change the way they need to do their investigations and to light it up a little bit. And in that way, I saw something which I thought, okay, what will be next? It's being made easier for them, but on the contrary side, it's still facing the risks in the market. So how are they going to challenge that in the future?
All right. And what was it for you, Stefan?
So first of all, Judith, thanks for having us in this podcast. I think it's an extremely relevant time to have conversations about third-party risk management and do as much as we can to inform everybody who would like to know things around third-party risk management, why it's important, and what we, Dave and I, see in the marketplace. Why? Because, and that gets to my TPRM insight. This is a small anecdote. 4 years ago, I went to my first TPRM conference in the south of the US, and it was a small group of people, couple vendors, couple practitioners, and it was a small and up-and-coming type of event. And over the course of the last 4 years, it has grown massively. So when I walked into the room earlier, there were hundreds of practitioners and a couple of vendors, which to me, now I'm also doing follow-up with all the people that I spoke with, really indicates that TPRM in the US, but also in Europe, is actually growing, maturing, and becoming more and more of a priority. So for me, the feeling about TPRM and the excitement is really like energy, excitement, that it's top of mind of people in procurement, but also in dedicated third-party risk teams. And that just excites me. A lot of people are talking about it, and a lot of things are developing. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world at the moment, and that just drives those conversations more. So I think that stood out to me last week when I was doing all those follow-ups, that it's really a hot topic.
Well, and also kind of good news for Owlin, and I suppose as well for you, Dave, right?
It is, indeed. Yeah. And there's a lot of things are changing, and the way that organizations are looking into their third parties. Heavily looking into, okay, what kind of risks are involved doing business with those third parties. So there's a lot of things are changing.
Nice. I would say let's dive to the challenge we're discussing this week. TPRM, one size fits all. Stefan, I want to know from you, what's currently the number one question you get regarding this theme if you're talking to prospects and clients?
Yeah, and that's actually a good one, because I get that question a lot, and it's actually a good thing, right? Because with all the developments in technology, but also the developments of the availability of data, there is no shortage of all kinds of providers who provide either data or workflow solutions for managing third-party risk processes. On top of that, there are also a lot of questions about TPRM. Should it sit within procurement? Should it sit outside of procurement? Is it an ally? Is it a foe? From different perspectives, you see there's a massive demand for collaboration across those different functions. So the number one question I get from almost all of my prospects and clients is, Stefan, what is your vision to organize all of this, to orchestrate the vast amounts of data that are coming in to our organization, supporting our risk function, the vast amounts of data that come in through procurement, like questionnaires and ESG scores and questionnaires and all that kind of good stuff, and how do we make sure that all the people involved in that particular process are not working with 50 different tools that all do one little slice of the puzzle, and how do we make sure that it all talks to each other and integrates and works together. So I think I spend a lot of time talking about my vision for that, how you build a one-stop shop experience, where obviously the Owlin data is one of it, but I'm more interested in how do we make sure that whatever data we have as a company really collaborates with the other partners that a client may work with, and how do we make sure that they can actually access the data in a efficient way, that it doesn't cost them more time, but actually less time to process and work with.
And is there then also, I'm just curious right now, because these questions, of course, I heard them as well, but I'm also curious, agentic AI, is that also something you're getting questions about a lot?
Yes, it's a hot topic, right? A lot of people are asking about these third-party risk agents and can it integrate with other agents? In my mind, it's just another integration, maybe a little more advanced in a way, but for me, the way I look at it is another integration. And I typically tell my clients for them to worry about what they want to accomplish with their process and what inputs and outputs. And then when it comes to coming up with fancy technological solutions to realize that dream, then I'll be the first to help them think that through and how we would actually call it. Do we call it an API? Do we call it an agent? Do we call it a desktop application, whatever that is?
Yeah, but not as a separate focus, just as something that will make you help realize your goal.
Yeah, exactly.
And the challenges Stefan talks about, Dave, you recognize them?
Yeah, I do. But if you're looking back in time, because we as Trust Alliance are operating on this market for more than 15 years already. And if I look back to the old days, to say, where we started with just PEP screening and sanction screening, we had to explain a lot of organization what it was actually. And fast forward to today, pretty much everyone does something with PEP and sanction screening, but needs more on information of their third parties. Not only can I do business with them, but the second question is would I like to do business with them? But to get this information, you see organizations having a lot of solutions in place. So there is more demand on layering those solutions up to each other, and to find a way to integrate it in one environment or one solution. So gathering the data. And it's very important to know your data. It started with know your client, know your business. But today it's as well about know your data. Where's your data coming from? What kind of data do I import into my environment? And can I rely on that data? And if you look into where they started, was just an onboarding screening.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to do business with this third party. Is that possible? And would I like to do that? And then onboard them. And it just was as is. But nowadays it's more about continuous monitoring. Okay, what's happening with my third party? Do I like this or not? And what kind of consequences or actions I would like to take based on the information I have. So that's what I see in a big change from just an initial sanctioned PEP screening to continuous monitoring today.
You recognize that, Stefan?
Yeah, totally. And look, I think that's also where almost the data need or the data hunger comes from, right? Because if you want to continuously monitor a company, you need to get continuous updates on different data that matters to you, right? So you need to get continuous updates on to PEP and sanction list and watch list. You need continuous updates on UBOs, continuous updates on negative news, right? It's not monitoring if you once every month get a refresh of the news. Monitoring means 24/7 or at least daily, so that you can keep track of what's going on and you're not surprised by certain events. The ultimate goal there is obviously also that if you continuously monitor, you can potentially also reduce the burden on the team to a couple times a year do this massive re-evaluation of all your vendors, right? You can more gradually identify issues or track issues, but then also more gradually take action. Instead of doing this massive push every quarter or every 6 months or every year to evaluate your high risk, medium risk, and low risk companies, and also kind of reduce or take that burden away for the team, these year-end evaluation cycles, etc. So
which is also, of course, a lot of data. Right? It's like companies could say like, yeah, if you give me continuous monitoring, it will be a lot of data again. But what you're saying is, yeah, but we help you to make the work actually less.
Yeah, and we divide it over time.
Yeah.
So you can take actual actions. So
interesting. And Dave, I also have to ask you the role of AI. Do you hear a lot about it already in the market, TPRM market?
Yeah, definitely. And AI is helping compliance and procurement in identifying any potential risk and to make things faster and swifter. And I think in the upcoming years, it's getting more important for every organization. But I don't expect eventually that AI, maybe eventually AI is going to make decisions, but not for now. So there's still some human involvement needed to make decisions based on the information which is gathered with or without AI. And maybe in if you go fast forward in 5 to 10 years, because it's going quickly, then it would be possible that AI is going to make decisions, but only based on your rule and risk framework created internally by your own organization, by the people in your organization.
Yes.
And it helps each other. It's complementary, and it's not going to take over everything in the compliance space.
No, which makes sense, right? Because then it's not so different from how it's right now. Like already people are getting all these insights, but nobody who's providing insights is claiming that they will make the eventual decision for you, right? That's always the team or you can be directed in a direction to think about or like to be alerted, but it's not like we're gonna say offboard this vendor or something like that.
It's going to make your work easier.
Yeah.
Faster, quicker, easier. Again, if you're looking into the past, people were doing Google searches to find information about a third party. But where do you stop? Where do you end? How do you translate? And how do you remediate your false positives?
Yeah.
And those things is AI making a lot easier.
Yeah.
Faster and quicker to help you with that process.
Nice, thank you for these insights.
Maybe one thing to add here, right? Like humans are limited by the amount of time that they have in a day, but they're also very much limited by the capacity that their brain has to process information.
Yeah.
Meaning if I have to review 12 contracts in a day, I can already guarantee you that the review of the first contract will probably be better than my review of the 12th contract. Why? I get tired. I may get biased from the other contracts that I've read. I may miss words. I misinterpret words. That is stuff with the right governance, obviously, that AI doesn't suffer with, right? Like you can load hundreds of contracts into an AI agent and it'll work on it with the same energy as it would do with the first and the 8th contract or the 10th or the 100th. Same applies to the news, right? You can only read so many news articles every day while also doing all your other tasks as a risk analyst in a third-party risk team to provide sufficient coverage for your inherent risk, right? To make sure that you have a acceptable residual risk. Yeah. AI, like for example, the platform that we have has a global scale, reads 1 million news articles every day and filters out what's important for you.
Yeah.
Which basically enables you to be more knowledgeable without spending more time. Now, in Dave's example, AI being a decision support solution, I 100% agree there, right? Because you're not going to solve the problem if that AI agent then sends you 150 news articles that you then still need to read. No, it's going to help you because it summarized those articles, because it gives you indicators like scores to show you like, hey, you need to pay attention. It helps you by helping you making a risk assessment, right? Because the platform knows you are a telco or the platform knows that you are in banking. So it can assess like, oh, for a banking company, a data breach of one of our critical vendors means A, B, C, D, and these are the likely scenarios of what's going to happen. Lawsuits from customers or law firms organizing themselves to create a lawsuit for you. Potential financial impact, all that good stuff that I'm sure our listeners are very well aware of. But the decision support aspect, I think, is very important, right? Because just sending more data to customers is not going to help them. There needs to be an additional layer, decision support layer on top of that, so that the actual user can save time coming to a decision.
Yeah, that leads me to my question about real proof, because if you're talking about this insights layer, can you tell a little bit more about Owlin's approach in this?
Well, I think earlier on in this conversation, I touched on the integration aspect of things, right? Where our clients and prospects want our information or our data embedded into their day-to-day workflow. And that can be many things. It could be one of the platforms that Dave is selling to the market. Like a good example there is like the guys and girls from Third Risk in Europe. The perfect example of how a workflow tool can work very well together with a data solution like ours. But in the US, we have, for example, VenMiner or N contracts, very similar use case. A lot of our customers nowadays pick up our API or a method to integrate into their existing platform to then use our scores, use the summaries that we generate on top of the news to make those decisions. There's no shortage of examples that I'm more than happy to share, but I think the most important thing for me is that listeners understand the concept of like integrating one-stop shop and then getting summarized insights that make you go faster.
Thank you.
I don't know, Dave, if you've seen tangible examples where this works really well.
Yeah, sorry. If I see it in the space where we work, because we sell a couple of specialized risk and compliance solutions in the market, and Owlin is one of the important players in that field. Just due to the fact to those news and risk insights that Owlin can deliver to our clients. Because they need to have some specialized data, some specialized information, which is gathering everything, which is available in the public domain, which they can't find them by themselves so fast and so quickly. And especially if you look back into what I've told earlier about layering of different solutions, Owlin helps a lot in that. So yeah, that's the reason why we work together with you, because that can help our clients overcome their risk and compliance challenges for today.
Nice. Yeah, you already answered my last question. Like, how do you see Owlin's role in this ecosystem or new ecosystem? So, any final thoughts?
Look, the space is continuously evolving, and I see that prospects and clients are continuously thinking about how to get the right insights and the right collaboration between business teams at the right moment, and really making third-party risk or risk as a general topic surrounding vendors as a enabler instead of a blocker, right? Like third-party risk is not there to just stop business teams to use solutions that they like. No, it's there to prevent business teams from potential catastrophe when they roll out a solution that doesn't meet the risk appetite and the risk requirements of a organization. With the solutions that Dave and I work with, including our own, we make that more efficient and more quick, so that early on in a selection process of a vendor, decisions can be made or mitigating actions can be taken, which I think is something. Speed to insight is going to be something I'm going to be speaking about with my customers for the foreseeable future, for sure. And I want to thank Dave for joining in our podcast, obviously.
Likewise, thank you very much for having me over here. Looking into my last remarks, the world is changing every day, and for global organizations, on one end, the regulation is changing. They need to comply to different rules, but as well, the world is changing by itself. Your third party in which you're doing business for a decade or longer can change. Ownership can change, the way they act can change, but even the markets they operate in. So there is a lot of things are changing in your risks. So take that seriously. Invest in tools which helps you identifying those risks in an early stage. That prevents a lot of money in future. And again, Judith, Stefan, thank you for having me over here in your podcast.
Thank you. To do. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing these thoughts, Stefan and Dave. Dave from Trust Alliance, and of course, Stefan from our own company, Owlin. If you'd like to learn more about how Owlin and Trust Alliance help organizations stay ahead of risk, head to owlin.com or visit trustalliance.com. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode of Owl Insights.